Welcome to SORMAG's Writers Café, where we share the real writer's life over a cup of friendship, sprinkled with laughter and wisdom. My name is LaShaunda Hoffman, and I'm your host. Today, we're back with the SORMAG Writers Café. It's been a little while since we've done one, but I'm really excited to bring it back. Our guest tonight is Jessica Mathews, Jacqueline Holness, Valerie J. Lewis Coleman, and Kristy Jackson. And they're going to talk a little bit about their books, their writing, and promotion, of course. So today we're going to start with Miss Jessica. Jessica, tell us a little bit about you.
Hi, I'm Jessica Mathews, and I primarily write children's picture books. I just put out an early reader for first graders, so it's about 70 pages. It's a chapter book. I also have an adult book that I put out a couple of years ago, so that's paranormal fiction, if that's what you like. So I have a little bit of everything. My website is www.jessicamathewsbooks.com, and everything is up there, including some pages for teachers and librarians, word searches, crossword puzzles, coloring pages, a lot of different stuff like that. So everybody can check that out.
All right, so did you decide what you're going to read for us tonight?
Yeah, I'll read you the first couple of pages of the new chapter book since my conference that I was going to release it at got canceled. So the new chapter book is called Captain Kraken and Minnow Do Adventuring, Mermaid Hair Don't Care. That's book one. It's going to be a series. And I did all the illustrations for this myself as well. I don't normally do my own illustrations, but for this one I did the writing and illustration. So it's really interesting. I kind of did it in Diary of a Wimpy Kid style, so it's more doodles. So that's a lot of fun. So the first chapter is called Mermaid Tears, and I'll read the first couple of pages. Captain on deck, look alive, mateys. Captain Marvin P. Kraken slithered across the deck of his ship Salty Tentacles. His powder boy Minnow was swabbing the deck. He wasn't needed in the bowels of the ship since they weren't waging pirate war on another ship. If they had been fighting and plundering another ship, Minnow's job would have been to hand Master Gunner Danger Johnson cannons and powder. It was a loud job, but Minnow liked being a powder boy better than he liked swabbing the deck. Pirates were messy, and he didn't like to clean up after them. The seas were quiet. The men were growing restless. They hadn't plundered or pillaged anything in weeks. When there wasn't any treasure to hunt or other ships to loot and destroy, all of the pirates were bored. Minnow stared into the ocean as he leaned on his mop. His eyes drooped. A light flashed on the horizon when Minnow's eyes were almost closed. Minnow stood at attention. What was that? Minnow threw his mop onto the deck and rushed to the side of the ship. He hit the rail so hard he almost fell into the murky depths below. The captain was too busy inspecting his crew to notice Minnow had left his post. Minnow searched the horizon line until he found what had sparkled in the water. Something floated just out of reach. He couldn't tell what it was. The sun glinting off the object made his eyes squint. He had to tell everyone. "Captain, look!" Minnow pointed overboard. In the distant sea, a bottle bobbed just above the surface of the still water. The entire crew rushed starboard, causing the ship to list to one side. The crew watched the bottle float up and down on the small wake the ship created. The bottle surfaced at the crest of the waves and hid itself in the trough. The men grew antsy with anticipation. Everyone knew a bottle in the ocean led to treasure. And so that's the first couple of pages there. It gets the adventure going, and the rest of it is about Captain Kraken and his crew. And they go on an adventure to help the mermaid who they find in the bottle. So
sounds interesting. I love the title. It's interesting. Miss Jacqueline, are you ready?
I am. My name is Jacqueline J. Holness. I'm a journalist based in Metro Atlanta. I've been a journalist now for over 20 years. I work for a news service for attorneys. I've written for several publications that you may have heard of: Christianity Today, Upscale Magazine, Atlanta Journal-Constitution. I also have a blog. It's called AfterTheAltarCall.com, and it's a blog about pop culture from a Christian perspective. I've interviewed many celebrities, such as Kim Fields, David Oyelowo, Mary, a variety of Christian celebrities. Additionally, I wrote my first book in 2012. It was a nonfiction book. It was called After the Altar Call, The Sister's Guide to Developing a Personal Relationship with God, in which I interviewed several women about how they developed their personal relationship with God. And most recently, in December of 2019, I released my first novel. So outside of journalism and blogging, I'm trying to now get into writing novels. I'm really excited about my novel. It's called Destination Wedding, and it's about these single black women in Atlanta who see a report about how 42% of black women aren't getting married. They decide to defy the statistics and get married within a year's time. And, of course, when you put love on the timetable, stuff happens. It's based off a Nightline report that I saw for myself when I was single in 2009, and it came out exactly 10 years after I saw the report in 2019. So at this point, I guess I could read an excerpt, and I'll read from the first 2 pages. All they could do was stare. Although the restaurant was mostly illuminated by flickering lanterns, they could still decipher that Mimi was making out with one of Wendell's friends near the bathrooms, a dark and secluded, almost secluded part of El Restaurante de la Playa. They groped each other as if they were lathering invisible soap on their bodies, which was apropos since it seemed only the shower of a fire hose could quench their heat. It didn't help that Mimi wore a tan sundress only a few shades darker than her skin tone, or that Chauncey was nearly the same shade. They weren't naked yet, but the melding of their similar complexions suggested that was next. Their mouths smacked and limbs flailed so much they fell against the cobblestone wall before disappearing into the men's bathroom. Had this been a year ago, maybe they wouldn't have been so surprised. A year ago, Mimi wasn't married, and yet there she was, kissing a friend of the groom. They were in Puerto Rico for Sonalda and Wendell's wedding. About 75 people journeyed from throughout the U.S. and beyond to the tropical island where Sonalda and her fiancé would say their vows on the beach at sunset, just as she had always envisioned. Doreen and Whitney whispered to each other, although loud salsa music probably drowned out what they were saying anyway. Should we tell Sonalda that her matron of honor is locking lips and God knows what else with one of Wendell's friends, Trina asked, trying her best not to make eye contact with anyone outside the two of them who had witnessed Mimi's makeout session in the open-air beach restaurant. The palm tree-encircled restaurant was the site for the rehearsal dinner that just ended, as well as for the wedding reception the next day. I just hope that none of the parents or older people saw her, snarled Whitney. She picked up her glass from the table and sipped on sangria. I mean, her behavior is beyond out of order. We may as well be at a ghetto wedding, the way Mimi is acting. Serena lifted her glass of non-alcoholic sangria and shook it, causing the fruit at the bottom to rise before eventually descending again like flakes in a snow globe. How are we going to tell Sonalda that her recently married matron of honor is cheating on her husband during her rehearsal dinner without starting a fight? One of us has to tell her, Whitney declared, jolting Jorena out of her contemplation. I nominate you. Since you worked in public relations, you can come up with a PC way to tell Mimi she is making an ass of herself. I mean, I hate to be so crude, but there is no nicer way for me to say it. Can you believe I can't come up with anything, Jorena said, shaking her head. I'm just praying we see Sonalda before Sonalda sees Mimi. Why are you guys huddled up? Sonalda walked up to her friends at their table from behind, placing each arm around each of them. The plank wood floor hadn't warned them of her arrival. Nothing, Whitney said, maneuvering her neck upward and flashing a smile to her before sipping her drink. Would you like a drink? I can get one for you. What are you talking about? Jorena said, peering down at her arroz pollo as she lifted her fork to eat. Sonalda, I'm going to just be real with you, Whitney said as she moved Sonalda's arm from her shoulder and rested her hand on the bride-to-be's hand. Jorena and I saw Mimi kissing Chauncey a few minutes ago near the bathrooms. We hope none of the older people saw what happened. What? Sonalda screeched as her eyes grew large. In spite of her small frame, Sonalda was not to be toyed with. Maybe it was the Bronx in her. Maybe it was because she was in senior management of her company. Whatever it was, she did not hesitate to check anyone, anywhere. I saw her flirting with Wendell's best man last night. This is going to stop right now, Sonalda growled in the punchy edge of her Bronx accent that was pronounced when she was angry. She rushed toward the bathrooms. Whitney and Jorena abandoned their table, running behind their friend. With her long legs, Jorena headed her off, putting her hands on Sonalda's shoulders. Wait, Jorena blurted, looking down at her before lowering her voice and slowing the pace of her words like she was talking to a cranky child who needed to be soothed. You're about to get married tomorrow. Just think about it for a minute. This is not the time for confrontation. You need to be calm and serene tonight. And I'll stop there.
Uh-oh. All right, Miss Valerie, you next?
Yes, ma'am. I am ready. So thank you, first of all, for having me on the podcast. I am excited to be part of the revamped debut show, so thank you for that. Like several of your other guests, LaShaunda, I have written in several genres. The most recent is my first children's book, Oh, the Things I Can Be When I See Me, which is a full-color picture book I did based off of conversations with my granddaughters. Samara and Lyric do not live anywhere near me, and so when I see them, our exchanges are, of course, fun and exciting, and my grandma's name is Mimi, but I'm always trying to incorporate some lesson, life lesson, skill, learning, career aspirations in our conversation. And so over the years, what happened was I shared with them historical pioneers and modern-day trailblazers who have done the things that my grandbabies told me they want to do and who look like them. So throughout this book, I have identified over 20 careers and probably 30 or so women of color who have achieved various levels of success. So I'm just going to read maybe the first 2 or 3 pages because it is a children's book. It's not full with a lot of comments and commentary as a full novel would be. Samara and Lyric are cousins. They love to visit their grandmother, Mimi. I am so glad you are here, Mimi said while hugging her grandbabies. What do you want to do first? Paint. Samara jumped 3 times. Mimi laughed. Okay, Samara, let's paint. She took Lyric by the hand. Samara said, Mimi, I love creativity because I can make what I see in my mind. That's visual art. You can tell a story using photos like Lorna Simpson, sculptures like Simone Lee, or quilts like Faith Ringgold. Artists like Zora Neale Hurston, Maya Angelou, and Vanessa Miller Pierce wrote books, plays, and movie scripts. Lyric said, my favorite colors are orange, blue, and green. She looked up from her artwork. Do you like it, Mimi? Yes. Such beautiful masterpieces. Let's get you cleaned up while your paintings dry. Since you two love to perform, you can be artists who dance, sing, or play instruments. Katherine Dunham formed one of the first Negro ballet companies in America. She toured the world and danced in several movies. Samara said, did you dance with her? Mimi laughed. No, baby. She opened the school in 1930, long before Mimi was born. She rubbed Samara's back. You saw Disney's The Nutcracker and the Four Realms, right? Samara nodded. The ballerina, Misty Copeland, is the first black female principal dancer for the American Ballet Theater. Lyric said, Mimi, look at me. I'm a ballerina. Do it, baby. Lyric stumbled. Mimi helped her balance. Let's sing a while. This art form has many great examples. Nina Simone sang Black classical music. Leontine Price sang opera. And Minnie Riperton. Mimi, I haven't heard their songs. Probably not, Samira. What about Mariah Carey, Jennifer Hudson, or Tanya Baker? Yes, I would do it all like Zendaya. She dances, sings, and acts. They sang, "Oh, the things I can be when I see me." And the website for this particular book is thingsicanbe.com. And a lot like Jessica, I have books as well as working on a coloring book. There is course curriculum that I'm developing. It's being translated into Spanish and French. And there are activities for children, coloring sketches that they can download, crossword puzzle, and a seek and find puzzle that are also available by contacting me through the website, thingsicanbe.com.
Thank you. Miss Kristy, you ready? Did you unmute yourself, Kristy?
I'm here. I said thank you for having me here, and congratulations to all of my fellow authors that are here. I really enjoyed listening to the excerpts of your books. And so my book is a little bit different. It's actually a journal. And the name of my book is the Bizspiration Personal Think Tank Journal. And I work as an entrepreneurship coach and speaker, and I work with lots of entrepreneurs that are developing their business brands and trying to strategize ways to, make sure that their businesses are growing at a successful rate. And so one of the challenges that I would constantly run across with a lot of the, newer entrepreneurs that I was coaching was just really trying to push through a limited mindset and the limited thinking that they were sort of stuck in, and they really couldn't process the strategies that I was trying to teach them to move forward and grow, in their business. And so this Bizspiration Journal is a collection of activities that really each of the segments introduces the reader to a different type of critical thinking, a different type of creative thinking. And it's done in a way where it's very reflective. It's focused on using unique photos. And so a little bit later I'll read a segment of the book so that you can see the types of critical thinking areas that we're focusing on. But, this book is not just for adults. It's also for youth that are, trying to strengthen their mindset and think more critically. And, the reason that I wrote this journal was because I want to educate adults to think more critically. And what I've learned is that, we've heard that there is this crisis in creative thinking, but I believe that this is really a result of a larger issue with really how adults think in general. And so, I've kind of been doing some research just to dig a little deeper into this thought. And so I ran across this article in Psychology Today that just talks about the increasing shortages of qualified candidates for jobs in science, technology, engineering, and math, just because there is this limited or this lack of innovative, creative thought. And so, I know that it has to begin somewhere, right, in how you're educated and how you're challenged and encouraged to think big. And so, we do that for youth all the time, but I wanted to create this journal to inspire and encourage adults to do the same. So I'm going to read a little bit of it, and if you would like to purchase a copy for yourself or your family, you can do that at our website, www.bizspiration.com. And the segment that I'm going to start with is SOS, and that stands for Strength Over Struggle. And so each of the chapters, per se, in the journal really gives you some background thought around each of the segments, but it also drills down deeper into why this segment matters. So SOS, Strength or Struggle. No matter where you are in life, you have faced a struggle of some kind and had to rely on an area of your strength to pull through it. Resilience and perseverance are key to your personal growth. Dwelling on your strength or struggle doesn't help either. Use them both as stepping stones to keep growing and living an amazing life. Use this section to journal about your strength or struggles to create new strategies to reach your goals. You can check the circle to choose to focus on a strength or a struggle of the day, and use the photo to make a connection to a strategy that you will try or an action that you will take. So, for example, if the photo is of a fisherman, you might take 10 minutes each day to fish for new ways to improve your health. If you are journaling about a strength, you might list characteristics of a fisherman that are also your strengths that you want to teach others. So then it goes into the section that really helps us to understand why this matters. So struggle is an opportunity for growth. Success is based on how well you overcome your struggle. Struggle is a form of feedback that helps you make better choices. Knowing your strengths gives you a better understanding of yourself and how you function. Communicate your strengths to build confidence and connect to your purpose. Use your strengths to inspire and to teach others. So each day you can choose, each day has a unique image that you'll look at and sort of reflect and decide whether you want to focus on a strength or a struggle and how you want to use that time of reflection to build your and push your mindset forward into a growth mindset.
That was really good. I think I need that journal. I've been struggling with mindset for a while now, but
yeah,
thank you.
It takes practice. So I'd love to have you have a copy for it. Yeah.
Yes. That all of y'all have very interesting books. I like that. I want to talk about what's going on today. How is the quarantine affecting you and your writing and your book promotion?
Well, I will speak about that because, and this is Kristy Jackson, author of Inspiration. I actually have another book, Dream, Think, Launch, that I will be, actually it's in the editing process now. We'll be ready to go. We had planned to be ready to go in March. And I have a children's book that is a companion to that adult book, Dream, Think, Launch. But it just, with all of this time to reflect, I had really put this journal on the back burner. It was something that I had been working on, and, I was sort of using it to stretch myself. And it just felt like now was the best time to, put the book out there because we have more time to reflect, we have more time to strategize. And so I think that it's a helpful tool for, whatever area you want to work on in your life. So I had not planned to put this book out as quickly as I did. It was sort of like, maybe I'll, put it out there, but I really hadn't planned to. But the time and the space that we're all in, it sort of called it forward. So that was the shift that I experienced.
Hi, I'm Jacqueline Holness.
Go ahead, Jacqueline.
Sorry?
No.
Yes, this is Jacqueline Holness, author of Destination Wedding. And like other authors, I'm sure, I had some in-person events scheduled for March and April. And now those events have been, postponed to a later date. So I've had to shift what I'm doing to promote. And even though I already had an online strategy, it has forced me to really hone in on that online strategy. So one thing that I've done is I had posted in my community. I'm in a Facebook group that's geared toward my community where I live. And so I had posted about my book, and everyone, people were interested in the book, but they also said, well, we want to start a book club. So I said to myself, I wasn't really thinking of starting a book club, but I did have some book reading goals for myself. So as I started to think about it, I decided, well, why not create an online book club for right now? And maybe we can make it in person. And that way, once, the coronavirus crisis is over, and that way I can meet more people in my community as well as promote my book. So I've created an online book club just for my community. We'll have our first meeting in May. And, we'll do online for the first, I guess, 2 or 3 months, whatever whatever's going on will determine when we actually meet in person. But that's one thing that I'm doing, that I wouldn't have done if I had those in-person events like I had planned. So anyway, so that's, my take on it.
I love how both of you shifted. Some people are still stuck. So I think that's really good that you shifted and you saw, Kristy saw a need. A lot of people are thinking that because of what we're going through that you shouldn't be doing any selling. But sometimes this is for me the best time to sell because people are stuck in their homes. They have nothing to focus on, and maybe if you have a good story or a good journal that they need in their life, they'll hit the buy button when maybe in the past they might not had even taken a chance to look at it because they're so busy with their lives. Right now we're on, I call it a timeout. Everybody's sitting in the corners trying to figure out their lives, and I think that it's great that you all shifted to try something different, a book club, maybe, sometimes a book club introduces you to other books. You might focus on yours right now, and then maybe later you might bring one of your fellow writer friends in. That's give them a chance to introduce their book. So I think that's wonderful that both of you shifted like that. Jacqueline, Valerie, do you have anything to say?
Yes, LaShaunda, I made quite a few shifts myself. Now, I'm a full-time entrepreneur, and an introvert, which I was sharing, I believe, with Jessica. So the having to stay home and the quarantine part wasn't so bad for me, other than the fact that several of my events, some speaking engagements and events that I was hosting got canceled or postponed. One of the biggest things that I did for the Pen of the Writer or Power Book Fest, powerbookfest.com, which is a citywide book event I'm doing in collaboration with another small business owner who was bringing in other vendors. We kind of saw the handwriting on the wall back early in March before they started canceling things, and so we had chosen a date to push it out. So we rescheduled that in advance to August 1st. Hopefully that date will hold. Again, that's the powerbookfest.com. Then the other thing that I started doing is hosting more virtual events. So I've been hosting author interviews, authors from the Pen of the Writer Book Fest, the Power Book Fest, as well as now that I am a children's book author, I'm doing more things to pull more authors together. So I recently curated a list of children's books to send to an organizer of a preschool program who was looking for books specifically for African-American children ages 3 to 5. My books, Oh, the Things I Can Be When I See Me, didn't fit in that list, but I still wanted to help other authors. So I put a list of maybe 30 or so authors that I sent to her, and she's looking to assess and evaluate what books to consider for their monthly programs that books are mailed home to kids. So hopefully some of the authors who I did that for will, get the opportunity to have their books sent home to these children in Dayton, Ohio, where I reside. Another thing that I've been working on is read aloud for my own book, and then I hosted a webinar to help people specifically with the children's book industry understand what it takes to publish a best-selling book. So the webinar is Leapfrog Your Success, How to Publish a Best-Selling Children's Book Without Spinning Your Top, Losing Your Shirt, or Getting Stuck in the Mud. And I did that webinar. I pulled questions from some of the people in my tribes and answered their questions during the webinar. And that's been a great resource to help people better understand and how to navigate the business of publishing, but specifically book publishing, because my book debuted as a Kindle bestseller. It's already been won several awards. The Feather Quill Award it's won, and it's in the running for a couple other awards. And I sold out of inventory twice. So, and that was all like within the first 3 months. And the momentum has waned some because now what I've been doing is focusing more on publishing clients' books. I would say that's probably the thing I've pushed more towards in this lull since I'm not going out. I'm focusing on publishing their books. And probably the biggest thing I've done since I've been on quarantine, which I probably wouldn't have done had I still been ripping and running, was I secured a virtual assistant. So now I have a virtual assistant who is working with me to get a lot of my busy work, so to speak, done. So I took the time to be able to allocate what needed to be allocated to her so that I can focus on publishing and writing and getting other things out. So I made a shift as well.
Wow, you have a full plate.
Yes, Lord, I do. That's why I have that assistant. Hallelujah.
That's good to have an assistant so you can focus on what you want to focus on. Jessica, you have anything to say?
Yeah, I haven't been doing anything. I do my day job, and I work from home 5 days, so I do that for 9 hours a day, and then until recently, the last maybe a week or so, I really wasn't doing much posting. I was trying to stay off the internet. I wasn't promoting a lot. I did LaShaunda's book brag 2 weekends ago, and then on her advice, I did a few Facebook Live posts where I read my books because they're children's books, and then I've been trying to post a little something every day, every other day on my author page, but it wasn't even until Sunday, 2 days ago, that I started writing again. I haven't written in 6 weeks since this all started. I've been home for 6 weeks, and it has not been going well. So I've just now started trying to do more and promote more and get back into writing. Everything was canceled. The book that I read, Captain Kraken and Minnow Do Adventuring, I actually was going to release that in late March at a convention with thousands of people. That was my release party, and that got canceled. So nobody even knows this book is finished because I haven't had anywhere to take it. So I need to do more promotion with this so that people know that it's out there. But I really, for the last 6 weeks, I haven't really been doing anything. So I think I'm turning around. The weather's nicer, and I've moped for 6 weeks, so I can get back to doing some stuff.
I think that this quarantine kind of affected everybody differently. For me, I thought, I'm going to be working from home. I'll probably do a lot of writing. And like you, I'm working from home, and I'm working 8 hours. So by the time I'm done, my poor little brain is fried. And so I had to really evaluate how was I going to make time for writing, what I was going to do, how do I promote all the time, so that's on the schedule. I don't have an issue with that. But writing has been an issue with me for a couple of years now because I just had so much on my plate that I wasn't taking time to write. And so I had to reevaluate what was on my plate and what was working and what wasn't working. And then I was able to see that I was doing a lot of stuff that wasn't working, and I needed to cancel those out, and then I could find some writing time. And so a couple of weeks ago, the writing bug came back to me. It hadn't been visiting me for a while, but it's been really nice to work on my characters and move forward. But I've learned that sometimes you just need the quiet time. You need to take that time and reflect over things that you're going through, things that you've been through, and right now it's you don't want to be sad, but you feel weird being happy, So I'm just taking it day by day, to see how it goes. Let's talk about writing a little bit. How did you know you found your writing voice?
Hi, this is Jacqueline.
Go ahead, Jacqueline.
Well, as a new novelist, I thought a lot about voice because, it was like when I started taking classes and thinking about voice, I started thinking what makes a voice unique. And it's very easy to do when it comes to people singing. When you hear certain singers, like, for instance, if you hear Whitney Houston, instantaneously that's her voice. If you hear someone like a Marvin Sapp, so I thought, well, how does that translate into writing? And so I just had to really think about what my voice sounds like. Well, for me, I tend to be, really into pop culture, and I love a lot of fun references, and I'm kind of loosey-goosey, so that's my natural voice. But in my book, I had 4 main characters, so I did not want my characters to sound like me. So I took great pains to think about each character individually and what their voice was. And how I did it was I thought about my best friend. Even if I didn't hear my best friends, there are certain things that certain friends would say and others wouldn't. And so whenever I was creating my characters, I thought about my best friends and how if you heard one person say one thing, you would know it was her versus someone else. So that's how I tackle the topic of voice.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's different.
For me, this is Jessica. For me, I write kids' books, so I know that I found my voice if I'm laughing and I'm reading what I'm writing to someone else and they're laughing. I don't want to write serious kids' books. I know there are a lot out there. I know there are a lot of kids' books or books that are written for children that are about true events, and they're autobiographies or they're biographies, or they're history books, but they're written for each age group. I don't want to do that. I want to be silly, and if you're not laughing at some picture or some line from my book, then it's not done. It's not ready. So everything has to be silly. And Captain Kraken and Minnow Do Adventuring, they go and steal mermaid hair back from a blobfish who stole it in the first place. Like, it's just crazy. So that's the kind of stuff. If I'm not putting in something really wild like that, it's not done.
I'm glad I was on mute because I was listening to they stole mermaid hair back from what? Like, what?
Yeah, so the fish king is a blobfish, and he's bald, and he just wanted to be beautiful, so he had his ninja fish steal all of the mermaid's hair, and he's got a wig room, a royal wig room, and I did the illustrations. So he tries on all their hair, on all their wigs, and then the Captain Kraken and his crew have to get their hair back so that they can have their hair back. So it's a big deal.
That is too cute. I have to read this book. That is so cute. Anybody else have anything to say?
Yeah, this is Valerie Coleman.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead, Kristy.
Okay. Well, I'll say for me it was a process. I really tried to just put down on paper how I heard the words coming out, in my brain, but I also visualized, me talking to one of my coaching clients or, one of maybe to a particular group that I might be, facilitating a workshop. So I used a lot of visualization where I was, actually like speaking to someone. And so I tried to have that, translated, through my thoughts onto the paper. And then I also would read excerpts, to one of my biggest critics, which is my 21-year-old daughter. And, I would read little, bits to her, and she's like, Mom, no, this does not sound like you. Nope. Go back. Keep it real. Just keep it down. And so, it was a process for me. It's not as easy to, clarify my voice in getting it out through my Dream Sync launch book. But for this Bispiration journal, it was just a lot of visualization, and I, again, just imagined that I was having an authentic conversation with someone, and I just kind of flowed from me like that.
It's sometimes good to have someone who recognizes your voice and can tell you, that's not it. So
yeah,
that's good that your biggest critic can see that, because sometimes people can't, and they will destroy your voice because they want it to be their voice, and so that's good.
Yeah.
Miss Valerie?
Yes, ma'am. So I am an engineer, an educator, and an encourager. So although I write across multiple genres, everything I do has humor in it. Everything I do is inspirational. So I've been people tell me all the time that I am a beautiful bully. My clients tell me that because I am very matter of fact when it comes to when I communicate what I need for them to do or what they should do for their projects. And I think I write very much like that. I don't do a lot of fluffy, flowery stuff. Even in my novel, The Forbidden Secrets of the Goodie Box, the way I was able to authenticate my voice was that the three main characters were three aspects of me. So I was able to kind of feel like schizophrenic, I guess, split personality, but I was able to process myself in different phases of my dating and relationship life So one character, Sherry, who was single, was in the phase of loving herself, understanding men, recognizing her worth, and not settling for anything. So she was very serious about where she was in her life and her relationship and how she moved when it came to men. Deborah was the naive me before I better understood what was going on, and the gullibleness and the vulnerability and the being taken advantage of person. And then Rachel is the married woman and her challenges in marriage. So it was easy for me to find my voice with those characters because they were me. And anything else I write, it has to have humor in it. Like I believe it was Jessica who said, if it doesn't make you laugh when you read the book, at some point or another, whether it's the novel, the children's book, or any of my other inspirational books, I've done something wrong.
Okay. Is being a published writer what you thought it would be?
Well, I will say, no, this is actually my second book. The first book that I published was, and I self-published each time, was Girlfriends in God. It was a women's devotional. So all of the books that I write, I guess you could consider like self-help. So, or, inspiration, ministry, vein. So it's really, instructional but reflective. So, but there is this aspect of promotions behind it. There is this aspect of you, getting out there and building the brand. It's not just writing the book. I mean, that's just half the battle. You really have to get out there and promote the book, build the story around it, and build, your community around your books. And that takes a huge commitment. And so, it's not just about writing your books. I mean, there's so many self-publishing platforms out there that, you're not so unique just because you've written a book. You know what I mean? So it really takes work in getting out there and building the brand around that book.
Wow, I wish other people knew that. I mean, so many people that they write the book and then they think the readers will come. And I'm like, it don't work that way. If it did, all of us would be big, rich-time people and, writing books every day, but that's not how it works. So you got to work it, to sell some books. And so many people have such a hard time with that. And it's scary sometimes. I'm wondering, at least do your research and you will see. I think that a lot of people come into this writing business with their blinders on. They just think that if I publish a book, especially if they self-publish, I self-published this book, I'm going to sell 1 million copies. And then they sell 2 copies, and they're like, well, what's going on? And it's heartbreaking because I see it all the time on Facebook. People are retiring from writing because they're not selling the way they think they should sell.
Yeah.
And most of the time it's because all they do is promote on Facebook. So, sometimes your reader is not on Facebook, and you have
absolutely that would be another great podcast topic. Knowing where your audience is. Oh my gosh, so true.
Yeah. LaShaunda, I think one of the biggest things that I did was when I first decided to publish my first children's book, I joined a local writing group. So I had no illusions that I would sell 1 million copies because I had mentors to help me through the process, and they set me straight if I ever thought that. So the biggest advice I can give to people, and I have to plug the St. Louis Writers Guild because I'm the president now, but the biggest advice I can give to people is find a writing community like a Writers Guild, so that you can get those mentors and that advice, and you can come out the gate strong and not floundering like all these people who are only selling just a couple of copies. There's no reason to sell just a couple of copies. You can sell a lot. I've sold hundreds of copies. I haven't sold millions, but I've actually sold hundreds of copies of my first book. So it's just because I had the mentors there, and they helped me through the self-publishing process, and they helped me through the process of going to conventions and learning how to be confident and sell myself and sell my product. and do all of my marketing. And then I developed a network, so we all market each other and we all help each other. So I think it's really important to find a group of like-minded people who can help you.
I definitely agree with that. That's what saved me with writing is I joined RWA when I first decided I want to be serious about writing. And I learned so much from the ladies that were in the local group. And I tell people that all the time. If you can't find local, create it online. I started my own online group years ago because I wanted to talk to other people who were doing what I was doing. You don't have to do it alone. That's the other thing when it comes to writing. It's writing is you do alone writing, but you don't have to do the rest of the stuff alone. You know, somebody's going to tell you where to go for the convention, or somebody's going to tell you who's looking for vendors. You know, if you're doing it by yourself, you're not going to make the connections that you need to sell those books, because you need the connections to sell the books. Yeah, like I said, they're not going to knock on your door saying, hey, LaShaunda, I want to buy 500 books. You got to get out there and meet people. And, you know, so I think the writing, I highly recommend writing groups. I really think they're great. But you got to find the right fit. So, yeah. And I'll plug St. Louis Writers Guild. I love them.
Yes, this is
Valerie. Valerie? Go ahead, Valerie.
Yeah, I was going to say that, as your previous guests were saying, one of the biggest things I found for my clients when it comes to the publishing process, that's where my strength is in publishing and marketing, is that most writers are right brain. That's where the creativity, the intuition, the feelings, the emotions lie. But what happens is when it's time to publish and market, which is a left brain dominant function, critical thinking, problem solving, reasoning, fact finding, they tend to fall short. So what happens is you're stuck in this ooey-gooey emotional feeling trying to connect with people, but then you don't position yourself to then actually connect with them. So when I work with my clients, I'm telling them always to write with the end in mind. Who is your audience? What message do you want to get to them? How are you going to reach them? Where is your audience? And then we also talk about the voice, because it's important, even though writing is right brain and marketing and publishing is left brain, you have to think about what is your final objective, what is your next. When you finish the book, that's just a start. You have the opportunity for speaking engagements, live events, coaching, merchandising, you know, all the other things that come from launching that book. The book becomes a platform. So most of my clients I work with are professional speakers and experts. So my intake questionnaire, if you will, is, you know, what's your next? What is your goal after this, so that we can see your expertise throughout the book. So as people read it, they're getting these little nuggets of you being a mentor, you being a coach, or you have this practice. So by the time you make the call to action at the end of the book, they already have some indication that this is what you do for a living, this is how you do it. You've already given them testimonials and client responses and results and feedback. So by the time you say, you know, without saying hire me, they're already ready to hire you. And that's the type of thing that most authors don't consider doing in their book, whether fiction or nonfiction. You want to incorporate that into the book to help you. When it comes to writing, I don't remember where I got this statistic, but 10% of your time, energy, and effort is spent on writing, 30% is spent on publishing, and marketing consumes 60% of your resources. That's your money, that's your time, that's your effort. Anybody can write a bestseller, but getting it out to the people so that it actually becomes a bestseller, that's where the challenge is. The press releases, the interviews, the live events, the networking, speaking engagements, getting book reviews. Those are the type of things that I've been helping my clients do, although that wasn't what I was looking to do. I started out just wanting to publish books. And then people started coming to me, I see you everywhere. Somebody just texted me yesterday, I saw you on TV. I said, well, what was I wearing? So that way I know what interview I was doing. You were on TV yesterday. Okay, well, who was the host? Tell me, because I've done so many things and appeared in so many places that I can't necessarily keep up with them. But what happens is people started coming to me. I see you everywhere, not just social media, but in live events. I've seen you on TV. You were just in this newspaper article. I saw you in this magazine. Can you do the same thing for me that you're doing for yourself? And I didn't really think it was a service offering, until enough people started coming to me and asking me to do the same thing for them. I'm like, okay, wait a minute. Let me, okay, the student is ready. Let the teacher appear now. Let me get myself together, because what I'm thinking I'm doing for me is just for me. Other people need this service. So I believe it was Jacqueline who said the marketing is the most challenging part, and it absolutely is. What you're offering right now with this interview is another opportunity for us to market and get the word out. So marketing is the biggest thing. You need to learn from others. You need to watch others, follow people who are doing big things. Because a lot of people, we all can look big on social media, but are we really getting results for people? Are we changing lives? Are we generating revenue? Are we making a difference in the world? Those are the real key performance indicators, for me anyway. I want to sell a lot of books, yeah, but I also want to change lives. I also want to encourage little girls of color. I want to show people that they can have fulfilling, satisfying, monogamous, committed relationships. So those type of things are also important, and positioning myself to share that with the world is a lot of work.
Ooh, that was good. One of the nuggets that you said was to know the end result. And a lot of people don't think about that. Even if you write fiction, there's still an end result to that, because you can create a whole platform. When I wrote my book, I did not know the world it was going to open up for me. I did not think about the end result. My end result at the time was to help another writer promote their book. That was my goal for their book, is I could help somebody else learn how to promote their books. I never dreamed that I was going to turn into a coach, that I was going to do summits, that I was going to do workshops, that people were going to invite me to present at their conferences. That was never on the agenda. And so when I talk to clients, I too say that, what do you want from this book? Dream big, because that book can take it to a whole different level, and you have to be prepared for it, because if not, you will overwhelm yourself, and then you'll go hide in your closet, So you have to be ready for that big dream, because sometimes it can happen, and then you're like, wow, okay.
Right.
What is the end result? I know when I started helping people promote, it was because people were asking me, well, you everywhere, LaShaunda. The magazine's doing this, you doing that, you doing what? I need you to promote my book. And so that's how I started SORMAG Promotions, because people kept asking me, and I was like, you know what, I know I can make the money from this, okay, because I wasn't thinking of it like that. But sometimes you got to be prepared, because people are going to come to you. Once that book is done, then they're going to come and they got questions, and you have to be ready for those questions when it comes. This has been really – go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to kind of piggyback on your point about knowing where your audience is, because, for me, this book really is just a tool, another way to connect with, our audience on a deeper level. And so, we really didn't start off with the book and then build promotions around that. We started off with building our community, through our videos. We have YouTube channels where we offer entrepreneurship tips, weekly. We also have a podcast where we're, promoting stories, elevating stories of entrepreneurs around, the community. And this book was just another tool that we could use to drill down and build, that community. But because our books were more of, the self-help genre and more in that realm, we understood that, we could not just stay on Facebook. I heard someone say that, Facebook is that audience that likes to talk, and YouTube is that audience that likes to learn and grow. And so that's really what our platform is about. And so, yes, we love our Facebook community, because we do want to encourage each other and, stay connected through those lives and through our private groups and, grow in that manner. But we really are trying to connect with a larger audience to help them to grow, their strategy in their life and in their business. So you really, again, like you said, you have to know what that end goal is. And for me, it didn't start with the book. This is a part of our funnel. And so, the book is one of the latter pieces that, again, just sort of emerged through the opportunity that we are experiencing now, just listening to the needs and being responsive to that.
And that's good, because sometimes the book will open up doors for you that you didn't even think about,
Yeah.
And so, like you said, you were trying to bring them over to your YouTube. Those people who bought the book now, that may be on Facebook, will slide on over to YouTube to see what else you got, you know. So
yes.
that's the thing about it. It converts people to another thing. Because if you'd asked me 5 years ago I was going to have a YouTube channel, I was like, for what? What am I talking about? I definitely wasn't getting in front of the camera. But the book said, yes, you are.
Yes.
You're getting a whole new
But we can cross-promote, right? I mean, you can. In all of our video segments, we have an advertisement for the book at the end. So, I mean, we're cross-promoting on all of the platforms.
Well, it all works together. If you do it right, it all works together. And that's I think that's the hardest part for people with promotion. They think they promote one time and they're going to sell millions of stuff. You got to promote. I tell people, my clients all the time, it's just like that Domino's commercial you see on TV. You probably see it about 15 times before you even order a pizza, you know. And so if you're posting once every month, they're buying their pizza somewhere else.
That's right.
You know,
that's right. It's a lot of pizza out there to order, isn't it?
Yeah. So you have to always think that.
LaShaunda, you're falling behind. It's TikTok now. Nobody's on YouTube. Come on. You got to get your TikTok going.
Oh, my God, Jessica, when I brought up TikTok, I wonder about that. Platforms. They will not move to new platforms. And I am all about the gadgets, and I have always been that way. I moved to Periscope, and the writers, I tried to bring my writers over there, and they were looking at me like I was crazy. But they wasn't ready for the camera. But here's the thing about if you're going to be in this market, you got to be on top of things. You have to be on top of things, and you have to move where the readers are. So if you stuck on Facebook, you're going to have a hard time because Facebook is not the most popular thing. I haven't got up the courage to dance on TikTok yet. I dance in my kitchen, but I just haven't put up the video yet. I know eventually I will get to that point because I told you I was not supposed to get in front of the camera. I'm a podcast woman. I am not a camera woman. But I learned that I needed to meet new people. And that was my goal, to meet new people. I talk to the same people on Facebook 50 million times. But when you get on a new platform, you're meeting new people. You get on TikTok, there's a whole generation of new people there. You get on YouTube, oh, my goodness. YouTube, if you think about it, everybody uses YouTube. They're going on there.
Everybody. And there's no barrier to entry. Yeah.
And if you don't have a page on YouTube, you're missing out. Even if your stuff, I've read people's stuff been on there 10 years. You know, you can't sleep on different places to meet your readers because you think I ain't got time for it. You gotta go put your flag on each mountain because somebody might be on a different mountain that you own. You know, but you know, some people.
Well, even LinkedIn. You know, LinkedIn is a platform that sometimes people overlook. You know, you can add your articles there and just connect with all kinds of, you know, make all kinds of connections and really, you know, really take advantage of those connections and not just clicking the button, you know, and not really making those connections.
I have met a whole bunch of. This year I focus on a different platform every year to try to build, and LinkedIn was mine for this year. And I was doing, you know, doing my blogs on there. Yeah. And, talking to different people. So I go on there and try to talk to 5 different people a day, you know, and connecting with people. And I had somebody that said to me, are you still doing book promotion? Yeah, and she bought an ad. And so I was like, oh, cool.
Yeah,
you know,
it worked.
It worked, and it's great for connecting and learning different things. Each platform has something unique to it, and you just have to learn how to use it. I use Twitter to get articles and workshops. I get all the workshops that's happening on Twitter, and I do articles. I don't do too much talking on Twitter because when I get on there to talk to people, I feel like they ignore me because people get on there and they know who they're talking to. I just get on there and learn from different people. And the hashtags, I love the hashtags. But you have to find the platform that works for you. And a lot of people think that it's Facebook, but my thing with Facebook is it's all about the results. Like Jessica was saying, you can sell hundreds of books, or you can sell 2. So if you're selling 2, you need to change something. Something needs to change, and that's all I can say. Something needs to change. All right, ladies, this has been great. We have gone on. I didn't even take a break. Oh, okay. Can you tell us how we can find you online, where we can find you?
Yes. This is Jacqueline. You can find me at After, AFTERVTHE, Altar, ALTAR, The Altar Call, CALL.com. So it's afterthealtarcall.com. You can also Google Jacqueline Holness, and my website will come up that way. And the title of my recent book is Destination Wedding. So if you just put in Destination Wedding and Holness, my last name, HOLNESS, everything else will come up as well. So thank you for this opportunity, LaShaunda. I really enjoyed the conversation.
Thank you, Jackie, for being on.
This is
I'm
Valerie
Kristy,
Coleman.
And,
Go ahead,
Valerie.
Kristy.
I'll go after you.
Okay. All right. This is Valerie J. Lewis Coleman, and my main website is penofthewriter.com. That's P-E-N as an ink pen, penofthewriter.com. And all my book information is there. You can find my children's book at thingsicanbe.com, which is just connected to the Pen of the Writer page. And I also have complimentary discovery sessions I host with clients who want to talk to me about their book projects. That's also available at penofthewriter.com.
Okay, Kristy Jackson, and our website is Bizpiration, BIZPERATION.com. And that on our website you can actually purchase our books, but you can also see links to our podcast and to our Bizpiration Top 5 YouTube channel. So, and if you're interested in being, a guest or, talking about your book or, connecting with us to share the awesome things you're doing in the community through your business, I'd love to connect with you through that website.
This is Jessica Mathews. You can find my website at jessicamatthewsbooks.com. My last name is Mathews. And there you will find links to all of my books and coloring pages, word searches, crosswords, and other activities so that you can print them off their PDFs you can print and use them at home, give them to your teachers or librarians, especially if you are homeschooling right now because of the quarantine situation. They're just fun little activities for all ages. Even younger children can do a word search, just finding the letters so they can start recognizing their letters. You can contact me through the website, or my Facebook page is Jessica Mathews Books, and I post a lot there on the different things that I'm doing. Yeah.
Well, I want to say a big thank you to you ladies for being here today. I really appreciate you taking the time to sit and chat with me. This is LaShaunda Hoffman, and I want to thank you for listening to the podcast today. If you haven't taken time to promote your books, please take time to showcase your wings and let someone know that you have a book out there. This is the SORMAG Writers Café, and we will see you on the next.